Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Only Stupid Answers. This is the show where we answer your questions about movies, TV shows, comic books, Comic Cons. I'm DJ Wooldridge. With me, as always, is Roxy Stryer. Hello, Roxy.
Hello, DJ. Back from Comic-Con, ready to talk about it.
Let's dive right into that because we're talking about Comic-Con today, and you had boots on the ground. You were there with the Whirl Girls. Tell us about your experience.
To be fair, I had sneakers on the ground. Boots would seem
sneakers on the ground.
A little too difficult to wear for a whole Comic-Con.
Yes.
Oh, boy, did I get my steps in. I got those steps
I believe
in.
it.
Yes, I did. On my first day, we got there Wednesday, and we went to do the Dungeons and Dragons party and exhibit. What is that actually called? Exhibit's the wrong word. Activation.
Activation. In your defense, like that's activation. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? But yeah, okay.
I don't know. I'm so used to saying like this activation that I've never stopped to think activation.
Yeah, what the fuck? What are we even? It's like when now using terms like brand and stuff like that. It's like, why do we talk this way? Anyway, whatever.
For sure. But mostly I just stayed downstairs at the activation and enjoyed seeing people I hadn't seen in a really long time and looking at the cool Dungeons and Dragons-esque world that they had built in there.
Cool.
Fun fact, somebody I've told you many things about, and I was the only person in the room who gave a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Ex-bachelorette Katie was there. That's the one who was sex positive.
Yes.
All better. And I saw her across the room, and I turned over to the World Girls and was like, "Oh, holy fuck, the Bachelorette's here!" and no. One person was talking to her. Nobody cared.
You know, it's funny. You hear stories about like how Bryan Cranston hid. There was a story about how Jack Quaid like hid at Comic-Con. I bet you the Bachelorette does fine. I bet in that crowd she probably does
she was
fine.
hiding in her street clothes.
Yep.
Like she, nothing for nothing. She looked great, but she just was like, this is not the crowd of people watching Bachelorette. She probably gets mobbed everywhere she goes in the Dungeons and Dragons activation. Not one person.
Totally fine. Yeah, totally fine. Comic-Con is the one place she can be herself. Let her hair down.
I was like, I think I'm genuinely the only person in this entire building who knows who she is. But that was great and a lot of fun. And they had drinks that were Dungeons and Dragons-y, that were blue. And they had big, like, ogres coming out and selecting who was going to the activation. Cool. That was a lot of fun. Really cool. The next few days, I went and did a lot of Man on the Street interviews, talked to a lot of the world friends, the rock stars, and people who have been supporters for years, which was awesome. And then we went on the IMDb boat, which was cool this year. It was open to the public.
Cool.
So a lot of people were in there doing, again, different like little mini activations. And then I did a lot of bopping around, seeing different costumes and cosplaying and talking to the people. I made the girls go with me to the melting pot, which is a bizarre choice to do at Comic-Con, and walked in full-blown costume, and the melting pot was not ready for this jelly. They were like, okay, whatever you're doing here. And then, yeah, for the most part, that was kind of it. All the things that you would have done, DJ, with talking to the people from all the places, IGN and fandom, and going around to see watching things on your phone and then talking about them with everybody who's there and seeing who knows what. I went to a Tim Burton party, which was really cool too. So
okay, yeah, so I got some questions. Did it feel as crowded as normal, as pre-pandemic?
So I didn't spend much time around the convention, yes, but not like on the floor, Hall H.
Yeah.
When I was walking, anytime I was walking, for anybody who's never been there, there's the convention center, and then there's two main hotels on each side of the convention, and behind the convention is the water with like this pathway that you use to walk. And usually in that pathway are people waiting for the Hall H line / all up by the hotels and like looping around. Those lines were as full as I've ever seen. I was talking to people in those lines, and they had been there for 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. Like normal.
I don't understand it. I don't like lines. I don't do lines.
That's the outdoor version of that.
Yeah.
Hall H, I think, was jam-packed, and it seemed like the floor was jam-packed, like jam-packed. So I think that it was good that they kept the mask mandate up, but the amount of people in there and the lack of windows. It's an interesting situation that we have. But yeah, it was really busy and the energy was up, just like usual. I was a little nervous that it was going to feel kind of like a zombie version of San Diego Comic-Con. It did not. It felt like even more special than 2019 because people felt so lucky to be there. Yeah. And a lot of the people who were there had tickets in 2020 and weren't able to go because it was canceled and waiting and more than ever, DJ, this year, because this is my 7th Comic-Con, I think.
Yeah.
More than ever this year, people that I was talking to, almost everybody was like, "This is my first con. This is my first Comic-Con."
That's cool.
Yeah, there were so many people who it was their first Comic-Con, and they were like, "I just decided, like, you never know when things are going to stop, and I've always wanted to get to Comic-Con, so I decided this year I'm going to go because you just don't know." And so I felt like that excitement was really palpable, and that people who it was their first Comic-Con, that feeling of going to your first Comic-Con where it's like everything is awesome.
Yep.
Like there's everywhere you look, there's something different. And even people waiting in line for activations. I know that people were waiting for the Gray Man activation or for the What We Do in the Shadows activations for like 6 hours just for the activation. But they were all kind of like giggling and hanging.
Cool.
And
cool.
That's not too shabby,
Okay. Other question. What was the best cosplay you saw?
There were some really, really good ones. I will say that the most frequent one I saw was probably Grogu. There was just so many, like.
So we're talking like a giant Grogu's, like human-sized Grogu's?
Yeah, but like just the ears, or like the kids were Grogu that were running around. There was like just so many versions of Grogu that I saw. And a lot of more casual t-shirts this year. A lot of X-Men stuff going on that I saw, which was interesting because of the sheer lack of X-Men that we currently have. And a noticeably less amount of Batman. I only saw like 3 full-blown Batmen.
Were any of them the Batman? As in the costume is seen in the Batman? Or were they just kind of just Batman?
If they were, that was not clear enough.
Got it.
Like maybe they tried to make it like that, but it seemed kind of like a hodgepodge.
What I would do, because I'm all about that comfortable life. I would do the Batman where he's just, you know what I mean? Drifter Batman, where I do the grease paint and then the bulky jacket, and I'd call it a day.
Totally. That's the easy peasy move.
Yeah.
My move at Comic-Con is to bring 10 pairs of ears and just wear them with any outfit that I'm wearing.
Love it.
So I brought elf ears.
Yep.
I brought mini ears.
Yes.
I brought cat ear. I just brought a bunch of ears, and then I put them on everywhere I'm going. And people are like, "I love your ears."
I'm like, "Yes, thank you.
Yeah, me wearing the elf ears to the Dungeons and Dragons party.
Perfect.
Was like I've never in my life felt like a hotter commodity. I was like, wow, this is the move for me.
This is the secret. This is the secret. Yeah. This is the secret. I dig it. So wait, did we determine a best for cosplay? Was there one that just kind of like, yeah, this person gets it?
I know the girls thought that the best one, and we took a picture with her, was this girl from What We Do in the Shadows. So you would know her better than I did.
Yeah.
Okay, so she, Nadja.
Yeah, nailed it.
Okay, this girl looked, and she wouldn't stop talking exactly like her. And I used to watch the show, so she was talking exactly like her. And like we asked to take a picture with her, and she asked this guy to take the picture, and he wouldn't. And she was like, "Stupid, take the phone!" And like she was doing the whole thing. And so she was my favorite. I think she was the best. Awesome. It was like Dead Ringer, incredible costume.
Love it.
And she not just cosplaying, but like personality. I love when people like, you're not just in the costume, you become the person, like you're an actor.
Yeah.
That was really, really fun.
That's cool. That's so cool. Cool. That sounds like a blast.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was. But the good news is, for people who didn't go this year, who want to go in the future, I feel like this year's really solidified that they're like, oh yeah, Comic-Con's not dead.
Yeah.
Like this is gonna be back for a long time.
It's back, baby. Yeah. And you know what else is back? Only Stupid Answers. And for those of you watching live, thank you for joining us. If you also would like to watch live, you can do that at patreon.com/Only Stupid Answers. Please, please, please give us a review on iTunes, 5 stars, if you would, please. If you listen on Spotify, you can do that and answer the question every week. Last week's question was, I don't know that it was last week's. A question from a previous week was, who do you think will die in the next season of Stranger Things? And Roxy, I'm going to read lists of names of characters I do not know, but you will know, and that's what matters. Sailor Gaines 18 says it would be really brave to kill at least one of the kids. I'm going to go with Steve and Will.
If you kill Steve, I will riot.
Is Steve the handsome boy?
Yes, he is.
Okay, cool. The one with the hair. Handsome boy with the hair.
Yes, DJ.
Okay, cool.
Don't care about me at all.
Okay.
What have I told you? The only thing I care about that show is that Steve and Nancy end up together.
I got it. Raisa Marie says,
I agree that Will's going to die.
Which one? Is Will the one that was abducted in the first season?
Yeah.
Have they figured, the impression I have been given is that they've never quite figured out what to do with Will post him being saved. Is that a correct impression?
No.
Okay. He has things to do?
Yeah. He's got like a tingly thing going on. I think we saved a lot for this last season. And also now we know he's in love with Mike. So there's like a lot of stuff going on there that I feel like all made sense. He's got a lot of connections to everybody. I think that they know what to do with him.
Except his haircut. They don't.
They don't know.
I don't know, especially with how adult. Like when I watched that last episode, it's like Will. It's like, okay, he's got the haircut, and then he comes over here, Mike. It's like, oh my God, he's an adult now. Why are we giving him that haircut?
Yeah.
Anyway, Racer Marie says, as much as I hate to say it, I think Steve. Roxy, they're really coming after your boy Steve.
Everybody is coming for Steve.
Everybody's coming for Steve. He dreams.
Kill Jonathan, bro. Kill Jonathan.
He dreams of a big family and going on vacation. I think he jinxed himself. I'll probably go out saving Dustin and the others. Yeshu Wazalewski says, I mean, it's got to be Steve. But Mike, if you're going to kill any of the,
are you trying to hurt my feelings, DJ?
I'm not doing anything. This is what they said. I'm just relaying what they said. Andrew Braza.
Oh my God.
Andrew Braza said, I'm hoping Steve or Jonathan. Thematically, it would make sense because of the love triangle with Nancy. I wish they would have the balls to kill Dustin or make Will a villain.
Oh my God.
It's weird. It's weird that, like, I think it's telling, like, the way we ingest genre media, that our response to resolving a love triangle is, well, one of the people has to die. And it's like,
kill Jonathan.
Or she could just decide to be with somebody else. Like, I don't know that he needs to die to resolve the love triangle.
No, he should die. What he did is, sneaky. And he took pictures of her naked in her fucking room and released them, and she dates him. It's weird.
When did that happen?
It's like season 1 or 2 or something.
Well, I'm not a fan of that.
No, it was creepy. He took he took all these pictures, and she was like, it's fine, whatever.
Is this the boy that is Cannonball in New Mutants?
He was what in New Mutants?
What, didn't he play Cannonball? Wasn't he one of the New Mutants?
Yeah. That's him. Yeah.
I would say, not for nothing, I would say if I were to choose, I'd probably go with Steve. But listen, it's not me.
To kill him?
No, to if I were Nancy.
Date him.
Yeah, I would probably go with Steve, but that's just a personal preference.
You were trying to piss me off.
Nope. I don't know enough. Listen, the only memes I see of Stranger Things are Sadie Sink in that song and Steve in his hair. That's it. That's it.
Do you think it's been long enough that I can give an Ozark spoiler?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
The way I feel about, like, how I felt about Julia Garner's character in about Ruth in Ozark.
Yeah.
And, like, just so badly wanting her to make it out alive.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Steve.
Yeah.
It's like my one guiding light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it.
It's all, I'm like holding on to that.
Yep. I get it. Again, and if you would like to go over to our Patreon, you can listen to our extra content, like our show Spider-Versity, which I do with Sal from Comic Pop, and what we're into. And for anybody that missed my Kickstarter, the pre-order store is up now. If you go to hellbentcomicbook.com, you can click pre-order and still grab the comic if you missed out. Now, let's do a quick ad break, and then we'll be back with more of the show. Oh my goodness. We're back, and we're here to talk about Comic-Con, and we're going to kind of go in the order of how information made its way to me in my sickbed during Comic-Con. And we're going to start with some fantasy stuff. Roxy, you mentioned the Dungeons & Dragons activation, and they dropped a trailer for the movie starring Chris Prime, of course. You know what? I don't mind addressing him that way. He does feel like Chris Prime to me, but...
Honestly, love a good Chris Prime.
Gotta do a Chris Prime. He has Prime Days is big for him. Regé-Jean, is it Regé-Jean Page?
Regé-Jean Page.
I shouldn't have jumped in that one both feet. I should have known better. Anyway, people are in that movie, Dungeons and Dragons. Roxy, did you see the trailer?
I did see the trailer. Did
the trailer give you thoughts or feelings?
I actually thought that the trailer looked pretty good, which was something that I wasn't necessarily expecting. I hope that this movie is funny and good.
Yeah, right. The trailer the trailer is structured in a way that I do not prefer for trailers. I knew I was not going to enjoy this trailer when it started off like, here's the thing, and it's like, oh my god, what is this? The early 2000s? What are we doing? But everything in the trailer, Chris Prime included, I enjoyed, but it is interesting the tonal disparity, just the two different ways of tackling high fantasy. On the one hand, we have Dungeons and Dragons, which felt kind of like trying to do a little bit of that Thor Ragnarok thing. Like, hey, what if we did the thing, but we didn't treat any of it seriously? On the other hand, we got a trailer for the new Rings of Power show on Amazon, and that is like a 180. That is like, we're going to church.
Yeah, serious.
Yeah.
Very
this
serious.
is serious business. It is Lord of the Rings. Is it officially connected to Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings movies? I don't know, but we're definitely trying to evoke that vibe. That's the vibe we're going for. What did you think of the Rings, in contrast, what did you think of the Rings of Power trailer?
You know what I thought when I was watching this, which is, I think, really unfair to the actual trailer. But my first thought when I was watching this was, I don't feel like watching this show.
Same.
That was my first thought. And it's not because the trailer's not well done, but I was just thinking, like, where I'm at right now, I like wish Abbott Elementary was back on. Like, that's how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And it's not fair to fantasy shows are about to come at us fast and hard.
Yes.
We're about to get a lot of superhero, a lot of fantasy, a lot of sci-fi shows in the next 6 months.
Yeah.
And that is one of my favorite genres.
Yes.
I just am not in the mood for it right now. And so watching this trailer, I was like, I don't know if it felt like I was breaking up with somebody and saying, it's not you, it's me.
That's totally fair. This entire promotional campaign for Rings of Power has had me looking at something that they've spent an exorbitant amount of money on.
Yeah,
to have me,
more money than anybody's ever spent
on a show, and have me go, meh. Like, it doesn't look bad. I just don't care. Like, I like this trailer more than previous trailers. I just don't know. I feel like Lord of the Rings fans are going to hate me for saying this. I just don't know that I don't know that Lord of the Rings is a franchise. Like, we keep trying to make it a franchise, and I think it is The Hobbit and the 3 Lord of the Rings stories, and I think that's the story. Like, I know there's backstory and shit, but it's backstory. Like, I don't know that, and I don't know if that's I don't need it. I don't need this.
I think at the very least, this is rude, but I will be able to watch Regé-Jean Page
In Dungeons and Dragons?
In Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, because I felt the same way, even though that one was funnier.
Yeah.
But at the very least, I'll be able to watch him in Dungeons and Dragons. I'll be able to watch Chris Pine in that one. Mm-hmm. In the Lord of the Rings one, I'm sure there's very attractive people.
Yes.
But I read this thing. Did you read this? And part of me is like, did I make this up? But I don't think so. I read this thing that they're putting beards on all of the women.
And this is my thing with fandom.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking. I don't know the specifics of how it was resolved. I do know that when we saw some dwarven women in a trailer, and a lot of the Lord of the Rings purists were like, "Hey, dwarf women in Lord of the Rings have beards," and they're like, "Don't worry, the dwarf woman will have periods. And it's like,
Oh,
God
okay.
fucking damn it. What are we doing? Why does this matter to anybody?
My point being that this is so it's this is gonna be such a rude comment, but at least in the Dungeons and Dragons one, like if you're not gonna be the category I want right now, can you give me sexy?
Yeah. That's
Can
fair.
you give sexy? You know, so I was watching the Lord of the Rings one. I'm like, then you gotta bring the sex, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Listen,
not
at least
getting
Game of Thrones, at least with House of the Dragon, you know there's going to be some banging going on.
it. No, DJ. Did you hear what they said?
No, what did they say?
Oh my God, DJ. I read this today. I found this out today. Showrunner of that show
Yeah.
said, to be honest, there's not much consensual sex on the show. But due to the times, there is a lot of sexual assault that we're showing.
What times? It's a fictional
what
universe.
Time? What time? Due to what times?
It's fiction. I get that
making
you're trying to evoke a
fantasy
time, but it's made up. It's made
He
up.
literally said there's not much consensual sex, but there's a lot of sexual assault.
Okay. I don't understand.
What the fuck?
I don't understand how you make
I gotta find this direct quote for you. It was literally that bad.
I don't understand how you make a Game of Thrones show. And what year is it? 2022. And you don't look at something like Bridgerton and be like, "Oh yeah, that but with death and dragons." Like that's it. That's what the people want. That's what they want. Like come on. Like that's like even as bad as Game of Thrones got at times, there was still like genuine sexy stuff. You know what I mean? It wasn't all just like, "Oh my God."
This is what he said. I don't know how do you say his name. Saponick.
I don't know.
There's the co-showrunner. He said he pulls back on the amount of consensual sex in the series. However, sexual assault is still very much present in the script. According to Sapochnik, the approach is done carefully and thoughtfully. Quote, "We don't shy away from it. If anything, we're going to shine a light on that aspect. You can't ignore the violence that was perpetrated on women by men at that time. It shouldn't be downplayed and it shouldn't be glorified."
I would feel.
I think it actually shouldn't be a thing because it's a fantasy land. So actually in the fantasy land that you're creating, can we not have sexual assault be the form of sex that we're seeing on TV? Just how about that?
Yeah. Because I feel like I would feel more confident about that quote if it was like a woman showrunner. If it wasn't like a dude, like, don't worry. We're just going to talk about sexual assault in a appropriate way. And it's like, fucking.
Totally.
Here,
and exactly what you said, DJ, was my first words out of my mouth. At what time?
God damn.
What time period?
What time? It's fake. It's a fiction.
Not real, man.
And like, not that
People
you can't.
like the medieval times. It's like, what? We're not on this fucking planet.
Yeah, man.
It's
Yeah.
not planet, bro. It's not planet.
Well, before we leave off these things, what I'll say, I didn't love the Dungeons & Dragons trailer, but I agree with you that at least it gave us pretty people to look at. And also, I did like it looks to differentiate itself. It looks like it, and I am not a Dungeons & Dragon, or I don't know the lore, but like there's a dragon in it that's like spitting rocks instead of fire. It's like cool. There's an owl bear. Haven't seen that before. You know, it's shit that like having ingested a lot of fantasy stuff growing up, it's shit I haven't seen in a movie. So it's like cool, dope. Awesome. And Rings of Power, I just don't have an interest in it. This one got me more interested. I just don't know if Lord of the Rings lends itself to a weekly series. Like we're going to have, the only way to make a show like that work is you're really going to have to dig into what is elven culture like. What is, I guess they're not hobbits at this point, but whatever that is, you're going to have to get into that. And Lord of the Rings is more of a fable and doesn't lend itself to that type of nitty gritty. At least the stuff I've seen, you could do it. I just have a bad feeling it's going to be kind of surface level and the same thing every week is the feeling I have. I also don't need to see Galadriel as like a badass knight. I'm not against it. I just feel like the instinct is like, well, how do we make this woman character cool? Make her a warrior. And it's like, yeah, but it's still like, there's other ways to be like cool and dynamic. Like that still seems like a very like
surface level.
Not just surface level, but like a testosterone centric way of depicting coolness is being able to murder things.
Oh yeah, yeah. So what for you of the three properties we just talked about, even though we weren't even really talking about House of the Dragon,
Yeah.
what are you most excited about of these three, Dungeons and Dragons, Rings of Power, or just Rings of Power, um and House of the Dragon?
House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon, Dungeons and Dragons, and Rings of Power.
This is going to seem weird based on all the things I just told you, but of those specific three,
Yeah.
Rings of Power.
Wow, that it does seem weird.
Yeah. Again, the trailer of Dungeons and Dragons did not give me a lot of confidence in that movie.
Okay.
What about you?
I think of those three, the one I'm most excited about would be Dungeons and Dragons.
It's interesting that neither of us chose House of the Dragon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, that's the same feeling I kind of get with Rings of Power. Where every time House of Dragon comes up, I'm like, oh, man, I just don't care. But the difference there is Rings of Power just spent so much more money, and also apparently there will be less rape. So there's that.
It's like, what a selling point for a
God
show.
damn! Don't you worry, our Game of Thrones show is gonna have rape in it. Don't you
Like
worry.
being asked, is there going to be a lot of sex in your show? And being like, well, not consensual sex.
Don't get it twisted.
It's like,
Listen, consensual sex didn't exist before 1975. Okay, so don't. Oh my God. I'm watching 1883, which takes place in like the frontier of America. And there's consensual, sexy sex stuff going on. Like, you can figure it out. It's fiction. You can figure it out. Anyway,
yeah.
let's get into Roxy's favorite topic, which is animation.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about, and I knew this wouldn't necessarily be Roxy's jam, but I wanted to talk about it, damn it. So we're talking about it. So we're going to talk about Marvel Animation. We saw a bunch of stuff. We got a trailer for this new I Am Groot show, which I guess I actually just got screeners for. I got an email for screeners for it.
Yeah, I saw that. So what are the shorts? Like, how short?
I don't know. I would imagine they're like the Pixar shorts. So they're probably about like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe.
But multiple 10 minutes things makes something long.
Yeah, it does. That is true.
Okay. Because I like this little Groot trailer.
Yeah.
But it wasn't something that I wanted to watch for more than 1 minute.
Yeah, it was either my impression was similar. It's either like, wow, this is either going to be really cute. These shorts are going to be really cute, or this is going to get old real quick.
Yeah. Is this for kids?
I'm assuming so.
Okay, then it doesn't matter if I fucking had my attention or not.
Yeah. This is not for me. I'm also interested in like, it is obviously animation, but Groot is a CGI character. So is this technically supposed to be like animated, or is this supposed to be it's all CG, but it's in the world of Guardians in an aspect that would be all? Does my question make sense?
Yeah, totally. I don't know.
Cool.
I'm not sure.
Something that excites DJ over here is that we've got confirmation of What If Season 2, which is coming in early 2023. It will include Captain Carter, Steve Rogers. It says the report I pulled this from was Steve Rogers as Iron Man. He's not technically Iron Man, at least in the Captain Carter. They call him the Hydra Stomper. But anyway, Black Widow, Thor Ragnarok's Hela, young Star-Lord and Ego. We got some Scarlet Witch, and we got Mandarin. Apparently there's also a clip of Captain America fighting Thanos in Infinity War, so I'm assuming there's going to switch up something there. And very interesting, there was a comic miniseries called Marvel 1602, written by Neil Gaiman, creator of Sandman. And apparently there's going to be an episode that is the 1602 Earth. It's an adaptation of that story, which is really cool. The Captain Carter, it was confirmed that the Captain Carter in Multiverse of Madness is not the same Captain Carter as the one seen in What If, which makes sense because for anybody that's seen, mild spoilers for Multiverse of Madness, she does not make it out of that movie.
DJ, I'm surprised to hear you excited about this because I know you liked What If at the beginning, but then it seemed like you were really cold at What If for multiple episodes.
Yeah, there was a stretch. There was a stretch as they started bringing stuff together that I was not a fan of, but then the finale was fine. It was actually pretty good. But I liked the freshness of the perspective. And Roxy, my fingers are still crossed that I'll be able to get my Bucky cap in one of these what ifs, like a what if Bucky ended up being Captain America, and I want
keep
that.
Hoping, DJ.
I want that. Well, listen, not to spoiler alert, we got the confirmation of Secret War, so I feel like everything's on the table at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
Roxy, does any of that information move the needle for you at all?
No, I think I'll stay not watching the show, but this next one I probably will check out simply because there's never been a piece of Spider-Man property, their content that I didn't love.
Yeah.
So this is worth my time.
Well, and this is interesting. This was it's very exciting and also very confusing. And I feel fortunate that I'm not the only one confused, because what we were originally pitched when they told us about Spider-Man freshman year was that this is Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man, prior to Captain America Civil War, right? And then we're like, cool. And then we find out it's coming out in 2024. Great. And then we find out, this is really cool, Charlie Cox will be voicing Daredevil in the show, and he will show up in the show. Awesome. The version of his costume. Roxy, I don't know if you saw on the doc. If you scroll to the bottom, there's a bunch of pictures that they posted at the
I love that this doc has got images too.
boom.
Love to see it.
And it's like that tracks. I mean, sure, we know that Matt Murdock was his lawyer, but he might not know Matt Murdock as Daredevil. That's fine. Then we were told the villains in the show will include Dr. Octavius, Chameleon, Speed Demon, Scorpion, and a character named Butane the Pyromaniac, which I meant to look up beforehand, but I've never heard of before. I don't know if that's a new boy. And it's like, wait, excuse me, Dr. Octavius, excuse me. And then we found out Norman Osborn will be a mentor figure to Spider-Man, Peter in the show. And it's like, huh?
Timeline wise, this makes no sense with what we were told then, and or what universe is that what you're
I think yes, that is where the confusion comes in, because the way they're marketing it is they're saying that this is MCU Spider-Man before Civil War. That said, the MCU now also includes a multiverse. That the U is now an MU in and of itself. And the impression that this gives me is that this is now basically a glorified what if show. This is like,
yeah, that's what it seems like to you.
Which honestly makes sense, because it's like your hands are tied. Like, there's only so much you can do with a Spider-Man story if you know that he can't run into any of his popular villains, and he can't,
This is something that's like a really dumb comment, DJ, and like I'm just gonna make you stick with me on this one, even
go for it.
Really stupid, because I know the kids don't care anymore, but I just wish that Spider-Man freshman year was on like Nickelodeon. Or like on Disney Channel. I guess Disney Channel more aptly.
Yeah.
Like growing up, I feel like just like this is the kind of show, if it's gonna be multiverse like where it doesn't actually connect to anything, I feel like it almost sounds like a Saturday morning cartoon of sorts that like you'd put on and it would be so cool to watch. You go talk about it with your kids. Like that's the vibes I'm getting from this. And it being on Disney Plus is the part that's like, so this is going to be a Disney Plus show. Meanwhile, we're going to get a spoilers for what we're talking about later, but a Daredevil show.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we have all of the Spider-Man movies.
Mm-hmm.
And based on the most recent one, we know this makes no sense.
Yeah.
So just like, it's almost like them all being under the one umbrella is the confusing part.
I agree. I also love the idea of this being a Saturday morning cartoon, but we don't really do that anymore. So I'm okay with that. But
yeah, that doesn't exist, right? Like,
not
is that
really.
even a thing?
But to your other point, it is weird. It's kind of like, okay, so if this is its own thing, why not make it its own thing? Why not just let it be an animated series? Like, why even bother trying to connect it to the MCU at all? And that almost makes me kind of worried that, like, we're getting X-Men 97, and that is technically part of Marvel Studios as well. So it's like, are you trying to tell me that X-Men 97 is part of the multiverse? I'm actually fine with that, except that now I'm worried you're going to try and connect them in some way, and I don't want you to do that. Like, don't do that.
Right. Yeah, me too.
Like, just sometimes a thing can just be a thing. It doesn't need to connect to the other things. It can just be a thing.
Totally.
We're also getting, and the other thing to your hypothesis that it is disconnected, the shot where they showed that Norman Osborn is going to be his mentor is like an animated version of the shot from Civil War where Tony's there with Aunt May, except now it's Norman Osborn. So it's like, okay, but then again, it's like, then why not just say that? Just say it's like, it's an alternate universe. We can do whatever we want. This is like, hey, what if we didn't have to play along with Sony and we could just do whatever the fuck we want?
Yeah, totally.
Nico Minoru from Runaways will be Peter's best friend on the show.
Oh, no way.
Jury's still out on whether they'll bring back the actress from Hulu. It would be cool if they did, but I would also be kind of surprised.
Why would you be surprised?
Just because they've not done it. They bent over backwards to like incorporate Charlie Cox in there, and it feels like it's like Runaway is like not even a peep, not even a murmur.
I liked that show.
Yeah, and also I kind of like this idea of like, why not? Like, there's rumors that Chloe Bennett, who played Quake in Shield, might show up in Secret Invasion. It's like, yeah, I mean, if you're bringing back Charlie Cox as Daredevil, just fuck it, just bring back the people. Who gives a shit?
What was her other name? Like Lily or something?
Daisy. It was Daisy. Wait, Daisy's her real name. Yeah, it was Sky. It was Sky.
Oh, that's my sister's name.
Then it was Daisy. Then it was Quake. Anyway, and Peter will have a bunch of different suits. It looks cool. I'm into this. I wish they were a little bit more clear. I honestly just make it an animated series and let's move on with our lives. Speaking of X-Men 97, that's coming out fall 2023, so like more than a year away. And it will pick up right where the original show left off. And I don't know. A lot of people are excited this because of nostalgia reasons. I kind of don't. I was like, that's fine.
Wow, I thought you were going to be into this.
The show did what it needed to do in my past, and I don't need it. I don't care. It's like, I don't know. I'd rather just a new X-Men show personally. But last, Marvel Zombies, which is a spinoff of What If. Apparently, they say will include the gore and splatter you want from a zombie show. But I would counter that statement with the reminder that Kevin Feige said that Moon Knight was going to be brutal. And so I call bullshit on this quote.
Yeah.
I say,
but I think it said it was going to be the first. How do they rate animated shows where it's like R-rated almost?
Yeah, TVMA.
MA, yeah.
I heard speculation. I did not hear confirmation. Maybe you did. But I don't think that's going to be the case.
Sure.
It will include zombie versions of Captain America, Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, Ghost, everybody's favorite character, Ghost, Abomination, Captain Marvel, and Okoye. Oh, Captain Marvel, that's going to fuck some people up. And the heroes will include Yelena, Kate Bishop, Red Guardian, Jimmy Woo, Death Dealer, Shang-Chi, Miss Marvel, and apparently there will be a version of the Eternals Icarus that is apparently half zombie and half alive, which is a cool use of that mythology. And there apparently will also be a team of widows and a biker gang of Skrulls. And that, I'm way into that, whatever that means. Biker gang of Skrulls, I don't know what that means, but I'm into it, whatever the fuck it means.
I want to be in the biker gang of Skrulls. I want to be in the gang.
Let me hang out with the Skrulls.
Let's go.
Last thing, Roxy, before we go off of this stuff, did you hear about the real life Infinity Stones?
Saw this.
Who is this for, Roxy? Who is this for?
Elon Musk.
Oh, Elon Musk. It's worth $25 million. This to me, my brain immediately jumped to that like Star Wars resort that's like $5,000 a night. And it's like, you guys are out of touch with reality. Who do you think your audience is?
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. I mean, beautiful.
Sure. Yeah. Looked great.
But what?
Mm-hmm.
What?
And also, a lot of precious stones aren't worth what we pay for them. Anyway, that's whatever. Before we get to an ad break, I want to hit this, Roxy, because I know you are a Walking Dead fan.
I'm excited about this, DJ.
And I want to know your thoughts. I should have put this trailer in there. Apparently, we got our first look at Tales of the Walking Dead. And we found out that the last episodes of the main show will arrive in October. It makes sense. And then there was talk of a planned Rick Grimes movie, but apparently that has been replaced with a new series starring Andrew Lincoln and Danai Gurira as Michonne. And it'll be 6 episodes in 2023, and they're leaving the door open for it being more than a miniseries, which feels like is what every miniseries does now. It's like it's a miniseries unless it does well.
A miniseries is just a TV show.
Yeah, miniseries is a season until it gets renewed until season 2.
Because they use limited and mini interchangeably, and there's no rhyme or reason to it anymore.
Yeah.
So how I'm feeling about this is really excited because, well, at least the Rick Grimes Michonne part of this, I felt like when they initially had announced that there were going to be 3 different Andrew Lincoln movies, I was stoked.
Yeah.
But confused. If you watch The Walking Dead, you know the way in which we left him was in shambles, and everybody believes him to be dead.
Yes.
And we know that he is helicoptered out. So there is definitely it's not confusing in the sense that like very easily something could happen with him.
Yeah.
But why Andrew Lincoln would want to have done 3 movies on this was like, what movie? Three movies? What, like, huh? So him and Michonne series, that sounds really dope to me. I love Michonne.
Yeah.
She's probably my favorite on the show, or one of them at least. And I really loved Rick Grimes, and I loved them together, and we didn't get to explore that as much. Now I'm curious though when this show takes place.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny you say 3 movies. It's like, well, 6 episodes. That tracks. That's they just did it's like, yeah, why not do the 6 episodes immediately? Here, my first thoughts, because obviously I'm not keeping up with Walking Dead. Is Denai Guerrera not too big for this show yet?
She like the way that the show worked this past season is, remember I told you that they like are on journeys where it's just 2 of them at a time, 2 of them at a time. So I don't think it's too strenuous of a journey for her.
Gotcha.
Like it's not like she is the star of the show and every episode and they're filming a ton of them. I think she's doing a bunch of pop-ins.
But in this show, she's like the co-lead in this show.
You're talking about in this new show.
In this new show. Yeah.
I think that Andrew Lincoln's pretty huge too.
Okay. I just feel like she's in Black Panther.
Yeah, she is. But he was in movies before he was in TV shows. Yeah, I think she's definitely bigger than he is. But I think that, like, we're also living in a time where Nicole Kidman's on television every week.
Yeah, so. I just watched 10. Was it 10 episodes? How many episodes was it of Jeff Bridges and John Lithgow in a spy thriller on my TV? That was a TV show I watched.
It was sick. The old man was so good.
God, it's so fucking good.
Don't we still have an episode?
No, that was the season finale. That was another one that I could have sworn to you was a miniseries and now has a season 2.
Yeah, it must.
But God, that show was so good. But we don't have time to talk about it. So you are still on the Walking Dead train. You're 4.
I am.
Cool.
It's a train of 1. Choo choo.
Well, that was my next question. Is enough? When you hear like, oh, they're doing another 6-episode spinoff, you're like, well, yeah, that makes sense. Or it's like, wait, who's watching these other than me?
Well, that I'll watch. There's like 5 other Walking Dead spinoffs.
Yeah, there's the Fear the Walking Dead, the one with the kids. Is that World of the Walking Dead? And then Tales of the Walking Dead, which is the new one. And now we have this new Rick Grimes Michonne show.
I don't care about. I refuse to sign up for one of those other ones. I have been watching The Walking Dead for 12 years.
Yeah. Oh, who knows? Yeah, that sounds right.
I'm not doing this again.
Yeah,
but we know that. Just even mentioning how big she is, she's not going to do 10, 12 seasons of whatever this Andrew Lincoln show is.
Yeah.
So I can sign up for that.
Good. 6 episodes for a miniseries, possibly maybe a couple seasons in. Roxy's in it to win it. I do though think it is a testament to the current state of the show that you refuse to sign up for the other ones. It's like, yes, even Roxy has her limits.
Yeah, I have limits. I will not do this for anybody.
Okay, all right. Let's do a quick ad break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about DC movies, and we're going to talk about Marvel. We're back, everybody. Oh, my goodness. Now, going over to DC movies. Ooh, Slim Pickens over in DC land.
That Flash announcement was crazy.
Oh, man.
That Aquaman announcement was wild. I feel really understanding of what they're doing with this next phase.
Yeah. So we got a Shazam trailer, Shazam Fury of the Gods. The end. We got that trailer.
I'm obsessed with Eminem. I think he's the greatest rapper alive. I am so obsessed with him. And I didn't dig this trailer that much. I didn't dislike it. And I love Zachary Levi. I've interviewed him.
Yeah.
And I've interviewed a lot of these kids. Jovan and Faith and a lot of them, and they're awesome. I loved Shazam, the first one, and I'm super excited about the second one, and this trailer didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, similar. I wasn't sure, like literally just before I saw this trailer, I guess Zachary Levi was on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about how much he thinks how smart he thinks Jordan Peterson is. And for those at home that don't know who Jordan Peterson is, he's one of these right-wing grifter dirtbags. And so either if you think he's smart, you either agree with him or you're not that smart. And so it immediately soured me on Zachary Levi.
the way that he came out about Elliot Page. Did you see that 10-minute video?
Jordan Peterson.
Yes.
Yeah. And two broken
Wait, did you say Zachary Levi likes him or is friends with him or
I don't
likes him?
No, he said he was apparently he was on Joe Rogan. The article I was reading this about was how actually Joe Rogan defended Elliot Page. So props to Joe. Credit where credit is due. Props to Joe Rogan. But I don't listen to Joe Rogan's show. Full disclosure. So I'm reading the secondhand. But Zachary Levi was on. He was just like, yeah, I just think Jordan Peterson's one of the smartest people out there. And Joe Rogan was like, yeah, but he did all that Elliot Page bullshit. So fuck that. And Zachary Levi was like, yeah, there's just a lot of anger on both sides. And it's like, oh, you're going to both sides this? All right, guy.
That's brutal. I had no idea.
Yeah, it immediately, and again, this was an article just saying like, hey, Joe Rogan actually said something we agree with for once. And but my takeaway was like, ugh, I don't need to see Zachary Levi for a second, but too bad. Minutes later, the Shazam trailer dropped.
Damn.
And listen, and I don't know anything about his personal whatever. I just, made me not feel great about that situation. That said, so I wasn't sure going into this if that informed me not feeling like stoked about the trailer, but hearing your thoughts is like, okay, yeah, it looks fine. I will say my comments about the Stranger Things kids also apply to these kids. They're not like the kid that plays Billy Batson is not a kid anymore. He looks like he's going to college.
Yeah, that is interesting. But like, what are they supposed to do?
Nothing. There's nothing you can do. Except I know that
like people film things back to back now and stuff. It's tough with kids. You got school and shit.
Oh, it's what they did with the Harry Potters. Not that Shazam necessarily has the IP cachet as Harry Potter did at the time. Speaking of the Shazamily, we got Black Adam. And there's another new trailer. It also didn't really move. It was like, this looks cool. Like, I'll see it. But I'm not like, it's not like blowing my mind.
They brought him out onto stage to like throw lightning bolts and shit.
Yeah, he was wearing the costume. The costume looks cool.
That's cool. I'm going to see this also for sure. Am I right, DJ, in the fact that these come out in back-to-back months?
Black Adam comes out on October 21st, and Shazam comes out on Christmas 2022.
So 2 months apart?
Yes. And apparently neither Superman nor Shazam will appear in Black Adam in an apparent moment in the crowd, and this blows my mind. Like, I'll see posters like, oh, the Marvel fandom is more toxic than the DC fandom. And then I read about these moments. I'm like, no, that's not true. So Johnson was apparently asked if Black Adam could defeat Superman, and he responded, well, I will say, as you guys know, because we're all in deep with this mythology, that it's been an age-old question of who would win in a fight between Black Adam and Superman. Pound for pound, they're pretty close. I guess it probably all depends on who is playing Superman. I'm just going to say that. I'll leave it at that. And he was booed. The crowd in Hall H booed Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson because he suggested that maybe there might be a different Superman in the future.
That's insane. That's fucking insane.
Dwayne Johnson's giving you a Black Adam movie. Like, come on, and I know there were apparently rumors that were not coming from WB. That I think it was like Dubline or whatever. That Henry Cavill would show up and announce that he's going to be Superman again. It's like, yeah, but those are you can't fault them.
I was no shit. Of course you can.
I mean, you can hope. It's totally fair to hope.
Henry Cavill had come flying in with this game.
Dude, if they'd had a photo op, here's what I think. Here's my speculation. And Roxy, this is entirely wild speculation. There's no evidence that this was the case. But I would imagine Warner Brothers Discovery, whatever the thing was like, yeah, we want Superman movies. We've got Henry Cavill. We seem to like him. Why not do more with him? And we could have a Comic-Con winning moment with Dwayne Johnson on stage and having Henry Cavill come out and having them do like the boxing. You know, when two boxers are getting ready to go, they like square them off as part of the press. Do something like that. I'm sure there were conversations of that. It leaked. And then at some point in the conversation, Henry Cavill was like, nah, I'm good. And then this is what we got. And nobody liked it.
It was the reason nobody liked it was because there was nothing to it. Mm-hmm. It's like the most lackluster thing for two movies that we knew were coming out, that are coming out in a few months.
Yeah, this year.
We got two trailers. for one of the which the Black Adam stuff we've already seen footage from,
Yeah.
and the other one we've already seen a first movie of, so we know what Shazam looks like. You
Yeah.
know, so it's like just super lackluster. And I hosted a show called DC Movie News for 7 years. DC could sneeze, and I would be like, "Oh yay!" Like
Yeah.
I get so excited. But this was just frustrating because as a diehard DC fan, to watch what Marvel did,
Yeah.
knowing that Marvel still has D23
Mm-hmm.
and like so many opportunities for announcements, and knowing we're not doing a fandom this year.
I think we are. I heard that a fandom is happening.
Oh, I heard we were not.
Let me double check that. Finish your thought while I look that up.
Well, then maybe that would be good. But knowing that the reason that they didn't announce more things is because they don't know what they're doing yet. That's why.
Yeah.
This looks the way it looks is because they haven't figured it out yet. And it's like, you got to figure something out.
Well, and it's interesting too because, obviously my thoughts went to like, well, I mean, you can't do Flash right now. What else are you going to, and then I was reading an article that pointed out like, well, yeah, they're making two the Batman spin-off HBO shows. We've got Batgirl that's already been filming. We've got Blue Beetle that's been filming. We've got,
we love Harley Quinn. Bring her out something. Like,
yeah. There is stuff they could have done. It's like, oh yeah, good point. Good point, everybody. Marvel wiped the floor with DC this year, and I think that's going to be my segue into, because shocker, we're running a little long, into Marvel movies. And so for those listening at home, this is going to be split into 2 episodes. All the Marvel announcements, we're going to do a whole thing, diving into the calendar, diving into the schedule, diving into all that. So I'm just going to run through the basics here. And then Roxy and I are going to talk about the She-Hulk and Wakanda Forever trailer. But we got a full slate of Phase 5 movies. So that's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Secret Invasion, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Echo, Loki Season 2. This is including Disney Plus shows, by the way. The Marvels, Blade, Ironheart, Agatha, Coven of Chaos. Ooh, the Agatha show. It's canon. Daredevil Born Again, Captain America New World Order, and Thunderbolts, which is wrapping out Phase 5. And then Phase 6, which has a bunch of empty slots, but will be started off with Fantastic Four, which I believe was supposed to end Phase 4 originally, but now I guess is the beginning of Phase 6. And that is being wrapped up with Avengers The Kang Dynasty in May 2025 and Avengers Secret Wars in November 2025. That is all super exciting, and we're going to be breaking that down in a future episode, next week's episode. Unless you're watching live at patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. Ooh. So for this episode, let us focus on the She-Hulk trailer and the Wakanda Forever trailer. Some things that stood out to me in the She-Hulk trailer. It looks like Bruce is trying to train Jen, and she's already like better at everything that he's doing. There is a fourth wall break, which I have some...
when he turns away from... When she turns away from him and is like, he doesn't think that, or whatever.
Yeah, and what's confusing about it, I pointed out that it was kind of confusing, and everybody was like, she does it in the comics. It's like, yeah, it doesn't confuse me that she does it. It confuses me that he acknowledges it.
Yeah, he acknowledged it, and we only saw it one time. Like, what are the rules?
And so it's like, and Marvel in the past has been very strict on like having like a house style, and it's like, so how does this fit in? Does she have what is the MCU explanation from this? I'm all fine if they're just saying this is her show and she can do it. It's just weird, or having him acknowledge it makes it different. You know what I mean? Yeah. And people were like, well, Fleabag, and I was like, yeah, well, Fleabag earned that moment, and it's probably in She-Hulk's best interest to not reference that moment, because that's like
that's such a weird show for them to compare this to. I get moment, but it's still weird.
Yeah, and it's like, and in the fourth wall breaking, whatever, but it's like also like She-Hulk, you're not going to be Fleabag. Don't make me think of Fleabag, because that's not going to make you look good, because you're not as good as you are. You're not going to be Fleabag. Sorry.
I actually think I'm really going to like this show, though, to be honest.
You know what? I agree. I will say that I don't know that the CGI is that better here, but I will say this about it, that it does not get in the way of Tatiana Maslany's performance. Right. And I think that's key, because she seems great in this.
Yeah, So good. Bring it on.
Yeah. We also get Frogman, ooh, with the jetpack. Jen is going to be representing Emil Blonsky, the Abomination. We get Wong, which is awesome, but then Wong also brings with him what appears to be world-ending stakes. Boo, I don't want it. Just to have her be a lawyer. And we get, at the very end, we get a Daredevil tease in what appears to be he might be wearing his yellow and red costume.
Did that excite you?
I don't care about the yellow and red costume. I don't know how they're going to explain it. Yes, it does excite me. I just don't want She-Hulk crowded out of her own show. You know what I mean?
Totally. Totally. That's a good way of putting it.
Lastly, but not leastly,
No, never leastly.
we got the Wakanda Forever trailer.
Oh, super never leastly on this one.
Yeah.
Yo. That music transition got me fucking amped. I'm excited for this.
This is how you do a trailer, everybody at home, because this trailer tells its own miniature story of everybody dealing with the law. We don't know how. We lose Chadwick. We lose T'Challa. We lost Chadwick Boseman in the real world. We don't know how we're losing T'Challa in the movie, but clearly we have. Everybody's dealing with that, and then it builds into this kind of like it's mourning, and then it kind of builds into this kind of triumphant overcoming the loss. It's really emotional. It's a really emotional trailer.
Yeah, I'm super into this trailer.
Yeah.
It was cool. I feel like I want to watch it 10 more times. Like a lot of the other trailers, I was like, all right, I saw it. This trailer, I was like, ooh, play that again.
Yeah. If DC had produced one trailer like this, that would have made their little panel better.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I love Kendrick.
Yeah.
I know that it's not like this whole movie is about the music, but it was such a big part of the first one.
Yep.
And so that's exciting to me. I'm really interested to see how they handle the loss of T'Challa.
Yeah.
And what they do about the mantle of Black Panther.
Well, we talked about in a previous what we're into of the question of like, wait, are we not even going to get a Black Panther? And clearly, and this trailer, it made me feel like you talk about the music choice. That's kind of what the point of the music choice is. Like, it's going to be all right. We've got you. We understand. And so it's like, there will be a Black Panther in this movie. Don't you worry. Who it is, you're going to have to watch the movie to find out. But it'll happen. And it's like, great. Thank you. Yeah, it imbued me with such confidence in this movie that I'm way on board. So before we wrap up for today, Roxy, speculation. Who do you think is the Black Panther at the end? That's Black Panther is calling in. That's Kevin Feige saying, "Don't reveal it."
It's crazy that you have no way, or I have no way of stopping it. Who do I think is Black Panther?
Yes.
It was so cool. You see that?
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know. I think we could go one of like three. What do you think, DJ?
For me, it is either Nakia or Shuri. If I'm going based on the vibes the trailer gave me, I feel like the arc of this movie is Shuri growing into the mantle of Black Panther. My vote would be Nakia.
Yeah,
because I think
it's more likely to be Shuri than Nakia.
Yeah, but I think Nakia is a better fit, and I also like I like all the actresses in this movie, but I think Lupita Nyong'o is like great, and I think she'd be great in the role. But yeah, so I think it's either one of those two. But if I were a betting man, I'd put money on Shuri.
The reason that I initially thought it was Shuri even prior to this trailer was because of all of the issues with the Vax, with the Letitia Wright stuff.
Yeah,
and like the shutting down of production and like looking into things. I felt like they were like there was something going on where they were trying to determine like whether they were making the right moves. But I don't know. Do you feel like there's nobody else it could be?
Unless there's like an outlier in. I feel like it's. You said one of three people, and it's like I guess it could
one of
be
three directions.
Okoye, but that doesn't feel right. That's not her role.
I don't think it's Okoye.
Yeah.
I think one of three directions is what I said. The two people that you mentioned, and then the third option, which would be just like something really outside of the box. I mean, I saw some people theorizing that like fucking Killmonger comes back, or like,
well, we talked about that, and that's my vote. But we would know. It would be on Michael B. Jordan's schedule. Deadline would have reported. We would know.
Maybe, or like somebody that we haven't figured out yet, or like somebody like a different variant that we haven't seen, and then like the way they're introduced is maybe with Storm. There's just like I think there's a third direction that
we're not aware of yet.
Yeah,
we're not aware of yet. Before we wrap up, I did want to say that the moment in the trailer that really floored me, and it will probably do the same in the movie, is when Angela Bassett is screaming, "I'm the queen of the most powerful nation in the world, and my entire family is gone. Have I not given enough?" It's like, huh! It just got me right in the heart.
She's so good. Her voice. Oh.
Yeah. I also don't know how much to speculate in when she says, "I lost my entire family." Like, wait, you have a daughter, you have a Shuri. What does that mean?
Yeah.
I saw some speculation that I thought was pretty smart, that maybe she's saying this during the snap when everybody's gone. Just like that tracks.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure.
And Jake in the Discord suggested he thinks that Namor will kill T'Challa early in the movie, and that's how we'll say goodbye to the character. I don't think that is the case, because I feel very strongly that we're setting up Namor as an anti. He doesn't seem to be. We see a lot of like military dudes fucking shit up, and so it feels like some military dudes are fucking shit up, and that pits Namor against Wakanda, but it's going to be one of those, we learn to work together by the end. That's the vibe I got. They're definitely not, it doesn't feel like they're putting Tenoch Huerta in a position where he's such a villain that he kills fucking T'Challa. Like, there's no coming back from that.
I wonder how much this movie is willing to take risks. Like, even the creation of this movie is a risk.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see how outside the box they even go.
We'll have to find out. We'll find out soon. And my birthday, November 11th. Yay. So we'll find out then. Let's wrap this up for now. We will be back with a full breakdown of the Marvel stuff, so don't you worry. But Roxy, before we go, remind the kids at home where they can find you.
Everywhere at Roxy Stryer.
Ooh, go check it out. You can find me at DJ Talks Trash, and please give us 5 stars and join us at patreon.com/onlystupidanswers, and we'll see you next time.